In this tutorial, we're going to find text, replace text, we're going to go to different parts of your Word document, and we're also going to look up kind of weird symbols. They've got a whole section in Word on the dinosaur ones. We're also going to learn how to insert and format text, paragraphs, and sections, and then at the end, we're even going to cover some tricky line spacing options. So in this section of your exam, a big important skill for you to know is how to quickly navigate through different parts of your Word document. So I'm going to show you one way to do that. In the first task here, it says in the dinosaur facts section, we're going to clear all formatting from the paragraph that starts with when someone discovers. So we have to locate that first dinosaur facts section, and you have to do it really quickly. So I'm going to show you a little shortcut, us there really quickly. You're going to press F5, make sure your insertion point is somewhere in your document, and then press F5. That's going to bring up the go to feature in Word, and then I can choose section from here and then just type in dinosaur facts, and then I can click go to, and it takes us right to where we need to go. So if someone tries to tell you on your exam that you can't use shortcuts, just call them an old dinosaur and tell them they don't know what they're talking about. I think some teachers will tell you that you can't use shortcuts on the exam because older versions of these exams wouldn't let you, but the newer versions like 2016 and 2019 will definitely let you use shortcuts, and they're kind of encouraged at this point. So take advantage of that. If you have to go to or find a certain place in your document, click in the document and then press F5, and that'll bring up the go to feature, and you can look for pages, sections, lines, bookmarks, things like that. So now we're here with this paragraph that starts with the sentence when someone discovers. We want to take away the formatting. Maybe we changed our mind. Maybe we thought it looked cool at the time, but not so much anymore. So I'm going to just quickly select this whole paragraph. And then in the Home tab, there's like this little eraser icon, and that is the clear all formatting button. So I'm just going to click on that once. It's going to get rid of the formatting that we had, and it kind of makes the text look normal the way it should. So sort of like the last task, in this second task in this project, we're going to locate something in our document. We've come up with this nickname for paleontologists, paleos, but then we want to replace it with paleontologist because if you ever had to present this, a real paleontologist might not appreciate that nickname. So we want to find all instances of it in our document and replace it with the actual paleontologist job title. So the way you would do that really quick, again, just use the same shortcut as last time. Click somewhere inside of the document, press F5 on your keyboard, and then this time instead of the Go To tab, we want to go to the Replace tab, and then in the Find What box, we're going to type our little nickname that we came up with, Paleos, and then replace it with Paleontologist. Okay, and be careful with the wording here. You might quickly rush to click the Replace button, but the task is asking us to replace all instances of the words. And here we go. And there's only one replacement anyway, but just in case, you don't want to lose a mark for clicking the wrong replace button. So we'll press OK and then close. For this third task, we're actually going to locate a phrase in our document, and then we're going to alter its formatting. So again, you're going to use that shortcut, and I encourage you to use it on your timed exam just to save you some time so you can get to the task that might take a little bit longer. So we're going to click somewhere inside of our document and then press F5, and we want to look for something. So we'll go to the Find tab, and we want to say find what, Microsoft guy, and then we'll do find next, or just find. And there it is right at the bottom of our page. We can just close that dialog box, and then now that we've got this highlighted, we can add our formatting. So like I was saying in the last tutorial, style sets are in the Design tab, styles are in the Home tab. So we want to add the intense emphasis style, and that's right here. Sometimes it's hard to see because it's hidden in the gallery, so you might have to open this gallery up in the Home tab in the Styles group and just kind of look for a few depending on which style you're asked to add to text. But we've got this intense emphasis one, so we're going to choose that. And there it is, YouTube Microsoft guy, yeah right, maybe one day. Anyways, that's how you'd complete that third task. So now we're going to try to locate a heading and try to put a continuous break in front of it. And when it comes to locating a heading, ignore what I told you about the F5 key on your keyboard. When you're locating headings, it's a little bit weird in Word that it's easier to find headings using the Find feature. So in the editing group here in the Home tab, so I'll just do that. I'll click Find, and then because if we press the F5 one, you'd have to type out the full name of the heading, and because we have a really long heading, it'll help us get to the heading quicker if we just use this one that opens the navigation pane, and then that way I don't have to type the whole thing out. Watch this. So I'm going to start typing. What is the most and then it already takes us right to our heading, whereas the F5 shortcut, you'd have to type out the whole thing or it wouldn't take you there. So just keep that in mind. So the navigation pane will take us right to where we need to go without having to type out this lengthy heading name. So I'm gonna, with my insertion point here, I'm gonna close this navigation pane and then do what it's asking me, which is to insert a continuous break. Now what this will do, if you ever want to create sections in your Word document, it's sort of like a hamburger or a sandwich. You have to create 2 continuous breaks in between the text that you want to section off. So the text would be kind of like the meat of the sandwich, and the 2 continuous breaks on either side would be the buns of the sandwich or hamburger or whatever you eat. So, so we've already got one here at the bottom of this section. See, there's a section break there, and then we're going to add another one in. The exam would probably get you to create a section, but that would take too long to create 2 continuous section breaks. So they just get you to create one where there's already one set up. So we're going to do that here. We're just going to click on the layout tab. So in this layout tab, in the page setup group here, we'll click the breaks drop arrow. We'll just click continuous break in the section break group here. And then you should see that there's a section break that comes before this heading, which is exactly what we're supposed to do. And now we've created a section. So speaking about locating things in your document, I think it took me 20 minutes to locate the T-Rexes that you see in the instructions here. And that's just because inserting symbols in Microsoft Word is a little bit weird. So I'm going to show you how to do it so you don't waste that much time on your exam. So the way you would do that, and yours are going to look a little bit different than mine are, but I'll show you why in a second. But we'll get to inserting these. So if you're asked to insert weird symbols like these on your exam, the first place you would go is the Insert tab, and then all the way to the right of that ribbon to insert a symbol. Now mine's right here, but you're not going to be that lucky. It's going to be something you have to actually search for. So we'll go to More Symbols, and then you have to pick out what kind of font group these are in. So it'll tell you in the task. So it'll say something like, this will be the font type that it'll be. Then you just have to kind of look it up. This is the Sego UI emoji, so we've got that one. And then you just type in the code here, the character code, which they'll also give you in the task. So just type in the code, and then it should highlight whatever the code is referring to. And this one, it's like a T-Rex looking one. There's other dinosaurs there, but that's the one I went with. So I'm going to click enter. And there we have it. We've got our symbol. It's a weird symbol. I don't know when you'd ever use these kind of symbols. Maybe if you were designing like kids' birthday party invitations or something like that. If yours looks a little bit different than the one I have on the instructions, that's because the theme is different. So just like the headings in a Word document, if you change the theme, the symbols that you add from this area of your Word document will change too. So I'll just demonstrate just to show you. If we try different themes, you get different colors. It just goes with the heading color, so you can try all these different. Actually, there's so many different ones that are a lot cooler than the color I currently have, but I'll stick with the Office theme. So in this task, we'll navigate to a certain section of our document and then change it from one column to 2. Maybe we want this part to look like a magazine entry or a newsletter or maybe a brochure or something like that. So we want to change this from just a single column to a double column or maybe a triple column as well. And you would do that by highlighting the paragraph first. So we'll highlight from here to here all of the text in this section. And then in the layout tab, we'll go to the column drop arrow and we'll just pick 2. Now you could be asked to do a little bit more things when it comes to multiple columns. Like you could be, we'll choose this more columns area and you could put a line in between. You could, once we choose the 2 columns, and change the width or spacing and then apply it to the whole document. But we only want to apply it to the selected text here. We'll just press OK. We don't need a line in between. It's just a straightforward 2 column that we want to convert this 1 column into. So we'll press OK. So for more column options, just click More Columns and the More Columns dialog box will pop up. So the last 2 tasks, we're going to focus on line spacing options. And when it comes to line spacing options and paragraph spacing options, there's tons of things in Microsoft Word and tons of options that you have, but we're just going to focus on 2 of them that are most likely to be on your exam so we don't get too distracted. So if you get a strange number when it comes to line spacing, like 1.4 That's the multiple line spacing option, because the multiple line spacing option basically lets you fine tune your line spacing. Instead of doing like 1, which would be single space, or 2, which would be double space, or maybe in between that, which would be 1.5, you can fine tune it to like 1.3 or 1.4. So multiple just means you can choose a bunch of different line spacing options. So that's what the multiple line spacing option means. So if you have a weird number and it says make that the line spacing for your entire document, this is the multiple line spacing option. But first we have to select all of the text in our document. So the way you would do that is start at the top and then press Control and A, and that's going to select everything in your document. Notice how if I scroll down, everything all the way to the bottom of the document is highlighted. So Control A from the top, and then it'll highlight everything, even if your document was like 10 pages long. So now that we've got everything highlighted, we can go to this paragraph group here. So in this paragraph setting dialog box launcher here, click on that, and then you want to go down to the line spacing options. So there's many here, but the ones that you'll be tested are on exactly or multiple. For this task, we're going to choose multiple so that we can fine tune the number that we want to make the line spacing. So 2 is double space, 1 is single space, 1.4 is sort of like in between. See how it gives us 1.5, and then maybe we want to choose 1.4. So again, multiple line spacing, just think of it as multiple options when it comes to the measurement of your line spacing. And then we'll press OK. And this is what 1.4 would look like versus, double space 2 or single space 1. So if we read the task here, it says at the end of the document, change the line spacing of the last 2 paragraphs to exactly 14 points. So there's a hint right there. It says exactly 14 points, and there's a line spacing option that'll allow you to change something to exactly something else. So the word says exactly, so we know that's the option we need to use, and change it to 14 points. This is what that would look like. So I'm going to highlight these last 2 paragraphs or the last 2 sentences here, and then I'm going to go to the paragraph settings dialog box launcher. And then instead of line spacing multiple, it's exactly, it says it right in the task, and then change it from 12 points to 14 points, and then click OK. And now we've changed that to 14 points exactly. Join us in the next video. We're going to cover tables and lists and how to format them for your Word MOS exam.